everyone, it's Elena and I'm back with another video, and today we're doing a little Q&A about my year abroad here in Regensburg. I'm saying abroad in quotation marks because I am German, so doing my year abroad in Germany, is kind of like just going back to my home country, but it's still technically a year abroad. So I asked you guys for your questions on Instagram, and yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, the first question actually comes from a fellow Cambridge YouTuber, and she just started law school, and if you guys want to follow her, her name's Astrid Franziska, and I'm going to put her channel in the description box below. She's such a queen, and she's just really amazing. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to stop fangirling now and actually answer her question. So she asked, will you have to do an extra year at Cambridge to complete the core law modules? Yes, I will have to do an extra year at Cambridge, so basically I just turned my 3-year law degree into a 4-year degree by doing this year abroad. The second question also comes from a friend of mine. What will you miss most about Cambridge this year? Well, of course you, Dan, and also Sijan. Dan and Sijan, you may have seen them in my Cambridge vlogs. They are two very close friends of mine, and honestly I already missed them. And of course I will miss them this entire year. Why did you choose Regensburg? So there were a few options that I had available to me. Regensburg was one of them. There was a university in the Netherlands, a university in France, and a university in Spain, I believe. And I chose Regensburg because I wanted to study in Germany for a while. I am technically not allowed to study in Germany as a normal student. I could only come here as an exchange student because I do not have the required qualifications for German universities, because I did my high school diploma abroad and it is not recognized as, being equivalent to German A-levels here. So I technically can't attend a German university normally. And so this was my one option to at least study in Germany for a year, because otherwise I would never get that experience. Will all your lectures be online? That's still kind of up in the air. Currently there are some which are planned to be in person, but they have already said that they are willing to move to, a digital version of the lectures if necessary. There is one which will only take place if it's possible to do it in person, so we'll see. But most of them will be on Zoom. Would you go back home during online school or stay in your country or study? I have been thinking about that. Now, obviously I would be staying in the same country because Germany is my home country. But if everything did go digital, I think there's a real chance that I would go home. Simply because I could do everything from home that I could do from here, but the difference is, at home I at least have my mom and her boyfriend to talk to, and if everything goes digital, I honestly have no idea how I would make a single friend. Like, I struggle to make friends, even without COVID restrictions, because I'm so shy and introverted, and I need extroverts to come up to me and talk to me, because otherwise I would talk to no one. And I wish this was an exaggeration, but it really isn't. So I think if everything would go digital, I would just be a little bit lonely here, on my own in this room all the time. And so then I think I would rather go home. What's the first thing you search for in a school or college? The library. What subject are you most looking forward to studying this year? Definitely the introductory course to international criminal law and procedure, though unfortunately that is the one course which will not take place if it cannot take place face to face. So I'm really hoping this course will take place, because I'm very, very interested in it, but obviously if it's not safe to do it, then we shouldn't do it. Studying abroad might be expensive. How do you manage your expenses? So I do have an expenses spreadsheet where I just put in anything that I spend money on, and I have categories, just so that I can also see, where does most of my money go. Unfortunately, most of it usually goes to skincare and cosmetics, though my acne somehow does not appreciate that. So I'm feeling a bit undervalued by my skin, but that's a different story. Aside from that, my money usually goes towards food, and particularly McDonald's. But generally speaking, this year abroad is actually not very expensive, in comparison to my years in Cambridge. The reason for that is that you only have to pay a percentage of what you would pay as tuition fee in Cambridge. So technically this year is a lot cheaper than any of the other years I've done in uni. So they have made this very, very affordable as a year abroad. Will you be taking exams? What language? Yes, I will be taking exams. You have to do the exams in a course in order to get credit for it. And the language of the exam depends on the language of the course. So if the course is held in German, the exam will be in German. If the course is held in English, there will be an English exam. What subjects are you taking? I have my list right here, so let me tell you. I'm doing an introduction to public law, so German public law, which is specifically for exchange students, which is really great because then, they understand that you've never studied this legal system before and that you probably have no idea, which describes me perfectly. And there's another introductory course for exchange students which is about German private law, and I'm also taking that one. Then I'm also doing Introduction to International Criminal Law and Procedure, but I will only be doing that if face-to-face teaching is possible, because that course will only take place as a face-to-face teaching. So if that's not possible, then that course will unfortunately be crossed off my list. And then I'm doing also sort of basic rights, it's called, and the law of international relations, so basically just international law. I also did that last year at Cambridge, but there are a few different things on the syllabus here, so I think it will be quite interesting. And then I'm hopefully also going to do jurisprudence, but they are covering different philosophers than we covered at Cambridge, so I think that will be really, really cool. But I have yet to get my confirmation that I'm in this class, but I'm really, really hoping that I made it into the class. How can you be so easy peasy lemon squeezy when you are going in a new place alone? I'm glad that I come across that easy peasy lemon squeezy, but I'm really not. I'm very often quite nervous, though to be fair, you know, I have done this a few times. Like the first time that I moved away on my own, I was 16 years old, and I went on a plane to Hong Kong on my own. So I have some experience, you know, in going abroad, and you know, I've lived in the US for 2 months on my own when I was like 17, and then I moved to Cambridge on my own. So I've been abroad a few times alone, and you know, I've done this entire thing of, you know, moving to a new place without knowing anybody. So at some point you kind of like figure out, okay, you're gonna be a little bit scared, but you know, you find the basics pretty fast, like a supermarket, an IKEA, stuff like that. But this year it's really different because of COVID. So yeah, I am honestly a bit nervous, and also a bit scared. You know, I don't want to end up being lonely here. But the great thing is, if it does end up being a kind of lonely experience, I can literally just pack my bags, go on a train and go back home, because my home is not very far from here. And that's honestly kind of reassuring to know. Are you doing uni vlogs? Yes, I will definitely be vlogging again. How often will you work as a research associate per week? How many hours? Okay, so I'm only a research assistant, and I work for a professor here at the university, and I work 5 hours a week, so 20 hours a month. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Are you afraid of this year for the pandemic school year? Yeah, I mean, I've already talked about the loneliness aspect. Am I also kind of scared of, you know, unis being maybe an infection hub? Sure. I mean, we already got a strongly worded email because some people threw parties which are definitely in violation of the restrictions that are in place here in Regensburg. And well, the university was not happy about that, obviously. Personally, I think that's absolutely selfish and absolutely irresponsible behavior. Obviously, I do not participate in that. I mean, I don't go to parties even without a pandemic, so I certainly wouldn't go to parties in a pandemic. But yeah, I'm of course worried about that. We also already have people with positive test results. And yeah, it's a worry, but at the same time, you know, I do what I can to ensure that should I have it, I don't pass it on to anyone else, and I'm as careful as I can be. I always wear my mask and, you know, disinfect and wash my hands all the time, and that's pretty much all that I can do. So yeah, I'm being careful, but I'm of course worried about it and I'm very much aware of it, which is why I'm also largely staying in my room like all the time. Were you aiming to stay in Germany because of COVID, or did it just so happen? No, COVID had absolutely nothing to do with it. I applied for this year abroad way back in 2019, and then I had my interview in very early 2020, and I decided to accept the place before I had even heard of the coronavirus, so COVID had nothing to do with the decision to go abroad. How do you feel about taking classes in German after a long time speaking English? I'm kind of worried about it, just because my grammar is really, really bad in German. You can kind of hear it sometimes when I speak German. Like, sometimes I will miss a word, or I will use the wrong articles for a word. But when I write, it's just really bad because I kind of like have no idea where the commas go, and I just misspell a lot of words. But I think that's okay because like I haven't really used that language a lot since I was like 16. But I think it's hopefully gonna come back to me now that I will speak it more, because I mean, it is my native language. So I do have some hope, but yeah, we'll see. Are the study sessions happening again? I hope you have a wonderful year. Thank you so much, and yes, I am planning to do live study sessions again, but I will first have to see what my schedule looks like. So my lectures will be starting on November the 2nd, and then I'll probably take like a week just to see what the schedule is like, which lectures I actually have to show up for in person, and which ones, you know, I just have to watch on my computer. And based on that, I will then decide when I will do live study with me sessions on YouTube. What happens to your stuff in storage? A lot of you guys were really worried about all the things that I put into storage in the UK. So this was like my moving out vlog when I just put everything into storage and, you know, tried to get a flight back home. And yeah, those things are still there. I will be reunited with them when I go back for my 4th year at Cambridge, but yeah, unfortunately I will probably not be able to see them for now. I also don't think, you know, any of that stuff is worth traveling for. I think traveling is at the moment just something that when you don't have to do it, just stay home. So I'm staying home because honestly, yes, of course, you know, I would love to have some of the stuff in there, but is it vital to my existence? Absolutely not. How is the bug situation? Okay, so I mentioned in my last video that when I moved in there were some dead insects in this room and it was just a little bit disgusting. But you know, I have cleaned it, I have disinfected pretty much any space that I could find in this room. So now it's fine. I haven't seen any alive or dead insects, and that honestly calms my nerves a lot. Do you think that teachers will look at you differently because you're on YouTube? No, I don't think so. I mean, all of my teachers at Cambridge knew that I have a YouTube channel and honestly just nobody cared. And I don't think anybody here will care, because like, it doesn't change what I do as a student. I guess they would maybe find it worrying if, you know, I spent so much time on YouTube and didn't do my classwork, but my classwork has always been my first priority and I think my teachers could see that and knew that. So I don't think it will matter at all here. Would you do a fan meetup? Definitely not at the moment, simply because of COVID and I want everybody to stay safe. And yeah, the other thing is I'm just so socially awkward. Like, I'm not really sure if it would be enjoyable because I'm like so weird when I meet new people and I'm just so shy. So yeah, there's also that. How helpful was the faculty at Cambridge with the organisation of your exchange? Very helpful. I mean, they were the ones who offered the option to go abroad and they guided us through the entire process. And what I also found very, very kind of them was that once you normally accept your place, you know, you can't back out of it anymore because this is a reciprocal exchange program. So, you know, when you open up a spot at Cambridge because you leave for a year, then someone from your partner university can fill that spot. So normally you can't back out of it later, but because of COVID, they also gave us an option to later on say, no, we don't want to go. Now, obviously for me, coming here was kind of less of a risk than, you know, traveling abroad and, you know, going on this entire journey because here I could just come with a car. So for me, that wasn't really an issue, but I think that was very, very kind of them to even offer it. How does it feel to be back living in your home country after several years? It's weird, not gonna lie. I haven't been here for that long for a long time. And, you know, things have changed since I last, like, really lived here. Obviously, you know, things, you know, such as the political climate, but, you know, also, like, language kind of moves on. Like, I still know some, you know, slang that was kind of cool back in the day and it really isn't now. So yeah, there's just, you know, some stuff that I have to get back into. Luckily the one thing I didn't lose touch with was German rap because I really like trashy German rap songs, which is a very, very bad music taste. I know, I'm sorry, and all my friends have banned me from deciding on music for events because my music taste is positively horrible. But at least one thing that I didn't lose touch with. What do you find really nice about being in your home country again? Honestly, being really close to my family. Like, you know, even just knowing that I could get on a train and be home in a few hours, that's kind of really reassuring. Because, like, you know, ever since I was 16, I kind of just was, you know, in a different country, often a different continent, and you know when something happens to a family member, you won't be able to be there. And, you know, everybody's lives move on, and that's normal and fine. But sometimes you kind of feel like, you know, you can not be a part of some big moments because you're just so far away, and now, you know, you could just come over, or if a family member needs help, you know, you could just come and help them out. And that's just really, really nice to know because it gives you a lot of, like, inner peace, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's a really, really nice feeling. And that's it for this Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm looking forward to filming some exchange student vlogs once my classes actually start in November. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and there will be a room tour coming soon once everything is decorated. Have a nice day. Bye!